I regret everything. It's that time of the month again. You know what that means. Fish. I mean a new Roblox event for me to cover in great detail, and by that I mean very little detail and just my experiences and what I think are horrible and pretty good about this event. So, what's the deal this time? Well, this time there's going to be 5 different teams that will be competing to win a grand prize. There will be 5 different teams, led by 5 different people, and having a bunch of different people on all the other teams, it doesn't really matter. Some have 3, some have 4 for some reason, I don't know why. Now, I would be fine with this. In fact, there's actually a pretty neat concept. It kind of reminds me of Metaverse Champions in a way. However, there is one tiny issue that kind of makes me dislike this as a whole, or rather, one really big issue. Hey, I recognize that guy! Okay, like, I know there's a bunch of other YouTubers that have, like, millions of subscribers on the other teams, and no offense to any of them. It's just that Creek is very much the most popular one out of every single one of these channels. Due to his much larger fan base, a majority of people are most likely gonna pick the Crimson Cats, including myself. I would have, ironically, have gone with Team Giant Feet because I thought it'd be very funny, but then again,
we are going to win it all by stomping on our opponent.
How much were you paid to do this? Overall, it's still sort of a toss-up between the 2 teams, so they did the best they could with what they had. Which also helped by the fact that it relies on people actually, playing the games in order to help their team win and all that, like the Olympic. And what do winners win? Why, prizes, of course, all of which are layered clothing based and don't look very good. Come on, man, you was doing so well with the other event accessories. Why did you switch to layered clothing? It looks terrible. As with, unfortunately, most of these modded events, there's also a bling track to accompany all of these accessories, meaning you can get double the amount of accessories that you didn't want. Great. There is one slight saving grace in the fact that there's now 5 launcher items up for grabs, which are all layered clothing t-shirts. Additionally, if you put in the work and get a bunch of badges, you'll also be able to get this cool little MVP crown next to your avatar. Along with this, you also get some wings, which are pretty alright looking, honestly. You can even get a bling version if you happen to buy the bling track. Said bling version counts as a hat for some reason, when the normal one counts as a back accessory. Again, the lobby might just be the best part of this event. It's a massive little running around area where you can find some little secrets, fly through a rink course, and mess around with a bunch of items that you get from completing events, such as being able to shrink and grow yourself, getting a bow and arrow, and of course flying with wings. Yippee! Better yet, the devs managed to resurrect 1x and make his boss fight actually good. Instead of the whatever the classic was going for, instead you now can be teleported into an arena where you can face off against a giant 1x. Sure, it's a bit simplistic, but honestly it's a pretty decent fight, and I actually had fun. You even get an extra accessory for winning. How nice! As of the time of recording this, there's one more accessory up for grabs, but currently you can't get it because it's just locked for some reason. I'm assuming it's the grand prize for whoever wins the games, but currently standing, it seems to be the Warrior Cats. And now time for the part that I was dreading the whole way through, the games themselves. Oh my god, these are genuinely awful. Somehow they managed to combine both the worsts of the classic and the hunt into one. What I mean by this, it takes the approach of the hunt's too many games, in which there were over 100, this time being reduced to 50, which doesn't seem as bad, until you also take into the account the hunt's very lack of quality control, with some of the games just being actual slop and garbage. And it also takes the approach of the classic's too many badges approach, in which there's 8 different badges to go for, 3 main, and 5 that are just hidden whatever the devs decide to do. A lot of which can be very annoying or very infuriating depending on the game and the quests they provide. Of course, not all of these games were bad. There's a couple that I think were pretty good on the screen right now. However, a lot of this was just garbage slop or grinding or just terrible things happening that made them so bad. Again, shout out to Grand Chief for helping me throughout this entire ordeal, especially dealing with my intolerable suffering and complaining while I did these games. So, what do I think were the top 10 worst of this event? Well, let me tell you. Side note, if you happen to see this handsome chap in the footage, that's because I'm using footage from Connor 3D's walkthroughs of the event, because sometimes I can't show the actual missions themselves. So, shout out to him. You poor soul. Number 10, Blade Ball. I was considering putting something else here and just leaving Blade Ball out of this list, but I had completely forgotten about it while I was considering the ranking, so now that I remembered it, I want to rant about it. It basically retains everything that was bad about it in the classic. 3 different quests that you have to complete in order, one of which is just a luck-based one where you have to get a specific map and win on it. And when you're against a bunch of sweats on this game, it's very, very hard. Finding the shines is also luck-based because it's on 5 different maps which you have to get and then have to find the shine on it, because of course the only saving grace on the reason it's not any lower is because it has a boss fight, which is pretty alright, but even then, Blade Ball, please stop, I'm begging you! Number 9. Bad business. The shines aren't too bad. There's just 3 scattered around the map randomly. There's 2 of them that are just hidden on the menus. Okay, fine, whatever. The main meat of this bone is in the form of main quest, which requires you to kill a bunch of people in order to find some trophies, which doesn't seem that bad. But then you get onto the second quest, which requires you to kill 20 people with a tennis racket. You are using a melee weapon in a shooter game. And no, you can't do the funny insta-kill move with the tennis racket from a range. That's the 3rd mission. You gotta do the melee one first. I learned that one the hard way. Overall, this one is just really time-consuming and infuriating, especially if you go against a bunch of sweats, like last time. Number 8. Volleyball 4.2. The shines weren't too bad if just bit cryptic. No, the actual problem stems in the game itself. I don't think is volleyball is boring in real life. Really, it's just a whole lot of waiting to get one of the badges, since you gotta play through a full game, which takes 20 servings basically, if you depending on how good the person you're playing against is and all that. Or you could just throw for content, I don't know, man. Very annoyingly, one of these quests also requires a friend, requiring you to hit them with a volleyball. We will unfortunately be getting to another game very soon that also requires friends in order to beat it. Number 7. Just the slop games. Just add all the slop games in here. By slop game, I mean just like literally any most simulator games, or just any weirdly pumped out quick cash grab game that somehow managed to make its way into the event. I don't have much to say here because most of these are just mindlessly plopping a summer-based world into the mix, and then you have to grind in there instead of the main thing, and then you just do a bunch of tasks and that's it. It's so boring. You're still clicking or just waiting for stuff to happen. Not fun. Number 6. Shark Bite 2. The game's main quests aren't too bad, it's mainly just the shines, really. Except for maybe the 3rd quest, that one was kind of bad, where you have to do a bunch of stunt jumps and you have to wait around in order to do, like, 2 at a time. The shines are just scattered around the map, mostly underwater, which can be very annoying to traverse, especially because, you know, there's a shark! Specifically, the one that gave me the most grievance was Shine number 4, which requires you to be in a certain special game mode, also known as Oil Rig Survival, which just appears randomly and can take a while to even appear. And basically, you don't want to be the shark for this one, because for some reason, you can't pick up shines as the shark, which is just great, thanks. Turning this from a half-decent game to just a boring waiting simulator for an actual special round and hoping to God you don't become the shark. Number 5. Fashion Famous. Why is this one even here? Because we already got Dressed to Impress. Is it just like bad timing on Roblox? Why are 2 dressing games in here? One's clearly more popular than the other. Popularity aside, these games' quests suck! Along with their shines being semi-bugged, and sometimes you can't even pick them up, meaning you have to rejoin and then re-pick up the shines again. There's also the main quest, which requires you to win 3 certain rounds, which appear randomly. Great! More waiting! Getting top 3 can be incredibly infuriating, especially if you don't even play games like this, at all. Worse yet, one of the missions require you to get top 3 times in a row in the same category. It's just waiting and trying to hope to God you get the right category, and it's so boring. Overall, this one is just awful. It's just waiting and hoping that you'll actually get voted on so you can actually get these categories over and done with and all that. So, let me help you out here with my very top tips in order to help you to get a victory in this game. Step 1. Step 2. Profit. Number 4. Just every single sport game. Throw volleyball 4.2 back in there as well, why not? I'm not gonna waste time just listing a bunch of these games and why they're bad. It's just like you're just playing the sport, and most of them don't even do anything different. It's just playing the sport and earning shines and just doing simple quests in order to actually, get the badges, play hockey and score some goals and get a badge, or just play soccer, pass to a teammate and let them score and get a badge. They don't do anything interesting. It's just playing the sport and that's it. There's nothing else. It's just mind-numbing and boring, and having to do that multiple times across multiple games doesn't help it either. Number 3. Funky Friday. Also, Robeats, they're kind of the same thing anyway. Do you like Friday Night Funkin'? Do you like hitting 4 buttons and trying to get a high score? Do you also like trying to beat a person in Funky Friday by getting a higher score than them in really hard songs or really obnoxious note spamming and all that? You're gonna love this event, I tell ya! The only vaguely different thing about this quest is that you get an obby and that's it. I would argue Robeats is even worse, as it's mostly just grinding to get all the silver by doing a bunch of obnoxious tasks or just playing the game normally. I guess you would like these quests if you actually were good at rhythm games. I'm not, and I didn't care for these, and I thought they were bad, so there. Number 2. The Fitness Gram Pacer Test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slow but gets faster each minute after you hit this signal. A single lap should be completed each time you hit this sound. Remember to run in a straight line and run as long as possible. The second time you fail to complete a lap before the sound, your test is over. The test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready, start. I was forced to hit that multiple times while mindlessly grinding speed in order to actually beat this. It's so boring, man. Why would you just make it like this? It's so garbage. But what could be more garbage than garbage, you may ask? I'll tell you after this quick honorable mention. Honorable mention, Motor Rush. God, this one is so bad. If I could have 2 number 1s, I'd probably put it up here as well. Basically, what you're doing is you're completing 3 different races, one of which requires you to have another vehicle because, well, the one you start out with is not good enough to complete the track in the allotted time. Great, so you're just waiting and grinding for extra money in order to get it. Thanks. This could be a bit of a me issue, but dear God, this game ran like garbage, and I could barely see the traffic while doing these stupid races. Not helped by the fact that if you die during these races, you gotta do the entire race all over again! Anyway, so what do you think is the number 1 then? Did you get the hint back in volleyball, whatever its face is called? You might know what it is then. My number 1 pick for the worst game of this entire event. Hang on a minute, I'm getting a knock on the door. Let me just go get it. Hello, who is it? Survive the Killer. My least favorite game of this event by a long shot. How so? Well, 1, the shines are located on 2 specific maps that you gotta look through, along with just in the lobby itself. It's very annoying if you can't find them, and then you just cry, and you cry some more. Number 2, in a similar vein to shark bites, you don't want to be a killer for this event, because you can barely get any of the tasks done, as they all require you to be a survivor in order to get any of the silver tasks done, which is just amazing. Number 3, the tasks themselves. What do you need to do for these tasks? Well, one of them is very annoying, as you have to camp around people that get killed by the killer in order to get them up and revive them, and do this 10 times. However, you can't just do it by yourself, you also need another person to do it with you. I mean, you just camp around like 2 people and hope that one of them just revives with you so you can actually get the progress on the tasks done and all that. Is so tedious and annoying because the killer can also just kill you at random, or if they're just like camping around the bodies, which is just great. Your second task is to escape with a friend. I mean, you have to friend someone on Roblox to get you to play this game with you, and then you have to both escape in order to actually get mission progress. If you or your friend get killed, then mission progress isn't counted. If the killer's a massive sweat, then this will be extremely hard, which was my case as well. But don't fret, you gotta do this 3 times! It's just really time consuming and tedious, along with just being annoying missions to complete. Lastly, you gotta escape a specific way on one of the maps, meaning you have to get lucky in order to actually get the map that you want, and then have to cooperate with actual people in order to get the exit open through the subway, and then trying to get through to there before the killer kills you. It's just annoying task on annoying tasks designed to waste your time and make you play through the same game multiple times on the same couple of maps multiple times. Is so boring and annoying, and that's why it's my number 1 of this worst games list. But what did you think of the worst? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah! We took 1 step forward with the classic, and now we took 20 steps back with this event. A lot of these games were just actual garbage, or just picked because they vaguely fit the sport theme, or were just literally sport games. So on together a vague theme with the most mind-numbing garbage experiences you can think of, while also making the prizes actually hot garbage, and you get one of the worst Roblox events I've played in a long while. I'm just kind of dumbfounded they managed to screw up again, especially with how they'd already done this twice already. They should know what to do by now. Again, the hub was probably the best part of this event, and that's about it really. I don't really know how to end this video even. I'm just tired, man. I'm going to bed. Good night. Actually, one final note. The event is finally over. Can you guess who won? The grand finale prize is this 2 out of 10 event. I'm going home. Bye.